China is rebuilding the Great Wall of China. But now these are not stones and mortar, not sand and rubble, designed to stop the enemy hordes. These are trees. Like the wall erected many years ago, the world's largest man-made forest should stop the enemy, which China has been fighting for many years, and which is no less dangerous than the problem of overpopulation of the country. This enemy is the desert that occupies most of eastern China and continues to grow without stopping. Although the Celestial Empire has an area comparable to the territory of the United States, only 12% of it is arable land. Nevertheless, China has the largest agricultural production in the world. All suitable land is used intensively, and the government has invested a lot of money, both in increasing yields and in preserving the territory. It is incredible that such a populous country could become self-sufficient in terms of food supply. A vivid example of self-sufficiency is the Xinjiang region in the northwest. It is almost a desert region, but thanks to drip irrigation and technological systems that reduce evaporation in Xinjiang, people grow vegetables without precipitation. The result? Tomatoes, garlic, onions, watermelons, melons, and much more have received international recognition. The taste can compete with fruits grown in southern Italy. Since every hectare of land is vital, desertification has become a real problem. Due to the high rate of its spread, it is considered one of the main environmental problems of China. Sandy lands covering up to 27% of the country's territory are growing rapidly. By 2006, they were devouring useful land at a rate of almost 1,000 square miles per year, compared to 600 square miles in the 1950s. The most insidious enemy is the Gobi Desert. It extends over 1,300,000 square meters. It is located on the territory of China and Mongolia and is one of the driest deserts on Earth. Sand and dust regularly flood farms and villages, block roads and railways. Hundreds of thousands of tons of this substance end up in Beijing and other cities, creating a serious danger to the health of their residents. According to researchers, desertification costs the Chinese economy billions of dollars a year. Therefore, there was a need in the country to erect a new Great Wall of China, this time green. Unlike the 8,850-kilometer-long fortification built in the 7th century BC to separate the Celestial Empire from the Mongolian steppes, the Great Green Wall of China is the largest forest planting project on the planet. Its goal is to create a long green belt with a length of 4,500 kilometers to stop the expansion of the Gobi Desert and at the same time reduce carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere by millions of tons. If everything goes according to the plan, by 2050 the forest area of China will increase from 5% to 15% of the total territory of the country. In November 1978, the Chinese authorities made a decision that changed the fate of millions of people in the areas of Sanya Bay, 3 North, Northeast, North and Northwest China. It was decided to create forest protection strips along the southern outskirts of 4 of China's largest sand massifs and 8 deserts, as well as the Woodlands Plateau. The name of the program itself can be conditionally translated as Forest Protection of the 3 Northerns. It is connected with the fact that the main Chinese deserts are located in the north-northeast and northwest of the Celestial Empire. The program is designed to protect the country from their malicious influence. At the same time, another unofficial name appeared, the author of which is considered to be Deng Xiaoping looks Chan Chen himself, the Great Green Wall of China. The Chinese did not postpone the project, and soon the main legislative body of the country decided to oblige every citizen over the age of 11 to plant at least 3 poplars, eucalyptus, and any large trees annually as a contribution to the common cause. In recent decades, instead of relying on revolutionary fervor, the government has been using capitalism to grow trees. villagers are paid for planting seedlings. In some places, the government leases private land for planting forests. Entrepreneurs grow and sell seedlings and harvest mature trees to produce lumber. It is reported that all this has led to a reduction in poverty in many areas and has definitely made some people very rich. The largest environmental project in history involves several methods of reforestation. At the first stage, rows of grass and typical trees of the area are planted. In the second line, rows of drought-resistant shrubs are planted, then the most resistant trees such as, for example, poplar. Different teams are hired to land them. Seeds are scattered from airplanes. At the time of the project implementation, it is planned to plant 100 billion trees by 2050. Not only professionals and volunteers are engaged in planting trees, but also Chinese officials up to ministers. In total, more than 500 million people participate in this noble event every year. At the same time, the account of planted trees goes to billions. Naturally, high technologies were not left aside. The Chinese have the opportunity to plant trees not personally, but with the help of online platforms. Donations are collected on authorized sites, which are then used for disembarkation. Over the past 50 years, first reforestation, the desert finally stops advancing. Although the plan has not yet been completed, the area of forests in the north has increased from 5% to 13.5%, and this area is the size of Western Europe. Over the past 10 years, 13 million hectares of trees have been planted, serving as a shelter from the wind, which occupied an area the size of Greece. Thus, the Chinese were able to save the land from the desert, which stretches for as many square kilometers as Italy. In those areas where the very first trees were planted, the forest has now grown and the amount of precipitation has increased. Thanks to plants, the soil can retain rainwater, and streams have increased its flow. Where the land used to be dry and barren, now there are natural parks, such as the Sahanba National Forest Park, the main attraction of northern China. But the project also has critics. Their main attacks are directed against the practice of monoculture. In most cases, only one type of plant was planted, and this makes forests vulnerable to epidemics. It happened that plant diseases destroyed many trees. In 2008, 1/5 of the trees died, and in winter hurricanes destroyed 10% of that year's work. Therefore, the World Bank urged China to strive for quality, not quantity. And a few years ago, a kind of forest scandal broke out. It is known that major Chinese cities, including Beijing, face the problem of smog, which is getting worse every year. Despite all the efforts of the government, the wind blows smog out of cities, but in recent years this has been happening less and less. It has been suggested that the free movement of air is hindered by new forest plantations. Because of them, the air in cities stagnates and cannot be purified. The deputy head of the State Forestry Administration of the People's Republic of China, Zhang Yunli, even had to specifically refute this statement. According to him, trees can restrain the movement of air only at the very surface of the earth. In any case, the benefits from them are much greater than the harm, including for the fight against smog. This may not be a perfect plan, but we can't forget that China has recently planted more trees than the rest of the world. The Great Green Wall of China today, the largest artificial forest on Earth.